is on. My name's Sean Pandina. I live in Kalispell, Montana. I'm frankly sick of this school violating my constitutional rights. In fact, I just had an experience out front, standing there with my sign, my First Amendment right to express the fact that I think masking children is abusive, and I'm asked to leave school property. Yet I'm here with the intent to speak in public. So that really bothers me. You all took an oath of office according to the Montana Constitution. It says, I do solemnly swear that I will support, protect, defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Montana, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity, so help me God. The reason I mention that is because I believe that not letting people into this building based on their creed, which is their beliefs, is a violation of Montana Constitution, Article 10, Section 7. No person shall be refused admission to any public educational institution on account of sex, race, creed, religion, political beliefs, or national origin. So if I don't believe that I should be wearing a mask, and you're refusing me entry admission, which is defined as the act of allowing to enter or the right or permission to enter, if you refuse me or anybody else or any student, day one, came down here, my students were refused entry into this school unless they put a mask on. That's a violation of the Montana Constitution. Specifically Article 10, your all's article. Article 10, Section 8, where you get the power to, the supervision and control of schools in each school district shall be vested in a board of trustees to be elected as provided by law. This is your article. You should be following it. Finally, not only is it against the Constitution, it's also against Title 49 of the Human Rights Act. Title 49-1-102, freedom from discrimination, the right to be free from discrimination because of race, creed. Creed's there again, it's a pretty important word. Religion, color, sex, physical or mental disability, age, or national origin is recognized as declared to be a civil right. This right must include, but not be limited to, the right to the full enjoyment of any accommodation, facilities, or privileges of any place of public resort, accommodation, assemblage, or amusement. So I feel like you're violating that as well.
You have 10 seconds.
I would ask you to please start following the Constitution as you all took oaths to uphold it.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the Board of Trustees, ma'am?
My name is Heather Asher. I live in Kalispell, Montana. I have a son here at Flathead High School. I know tomorrow night there's going to be a lot of people coming to talk to this board, and I'm not sure who else everybody is coming to speak to about this mask mandate that we're still upholding. I want to reach out to your heart also to know when everybody's up here and you only have 2 minutes to speak, that's going to be very fast for people to try to get their point across. And my point that I'm afraid is going to be overlooked tomorrow because everybody's trying to give you facts and they're trying to give you as much knowledge as we have all spent time and time again looking for to feed to you. I want you to know when I speak for all of these parents that will be here tomorrow night, I can guarantee you almost every single one of them, including myself, we are not disregarding these teachers in any way, shape, or form. We love our teachers in the school district. We entrust these teachers with our children, which are our everything. So I am in no way disregarding their feelings and where they stand with this mask. I just wish that everybody could open their eyes and dig a little bit deeper with this mask mandate and use our common sense that I feel everybody is overlooking, because I think at one point or another from the start of this pandemic until where we are right now, we've all had a question in the back of our head. Does this add up? Does this make sense? Number one, if this made sense, how is it that we don't have a specified mask that we are all supposed to be wearing? Why aren't we all wearing respirators? Why are we okay to take our mask off for 2 seconds to speak, take our mask off for 2 seconds to take a drink of water? We all have those questions. Every one of us has that because it's common sense, and we need to use some of that as well. But all I wanted to say tonight was to make sure that just in case somebody doesn't use those 2 minutes tomorrow when they're speaking, I'm speaking for all of them. We are not disregarding what these teachers are saying, and with their fear behind these masks, all of us are just standing up for our children. Our children, we all want what's best for our children. We would never put our children in this spot where we feel that they would be damaged or they would be hurt or become sick. And I just wanted to take 2 minutes tonight just to make sure that that point gets across, that we're not, I want to keep the teachers in the forefront as well. And I want you to know that we all love our teachers and we want to support our teachers in every way. And that's it.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the Board of Trustees? Is there anyone online? Okay. Then we should be good to move forward. First item on our agenda is information item, monthly budget report. Gwen?
And so you've seen this report month after month, and I think everything looks good, and feel free to browse it and anytime and ask me if you have any questions, but nothing really unusual, or we're in a good place financially for moving forward. And the next file is a cash report, and that's probably the one that trustees could take a real quick glance at and say, you know, if you see negatives in that cash report, if you want to close that one, Kelly, and open the cash report, that would tell you very quickly that, oh, there's some kind of an issue. And so if there's, you know, if you just have time to take a quick peek at one, so scroll down a little bit and you'll see this, keep going, page 2 shows, yeah, the January report. And the 2 negatives you see there, one is the health insurance and the other is the print shop. And it's about this time, twice a year, we sort of balance up the negative in the print shop. So other than that, everything looks good there as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Amy, I see you joined us online. Are you there?
Yes.
Amy Waller? Oh, okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
I am. Thank you.
Any questions for Gwen?
So next up is insurance, food service.
Food service.
Okay, yeah, if you scroll down lower right-hand corner, you'll see a positive number there in the amount of about $30,000. So we're continuing to operate in the black there. So all good there.
Gwen, you were saying last month that you wanted to have more people using the free lunch. Has that, and the teachers and principals, has it worked? Have we increased our number of kids we're feeding?
We're seeing increases at the high school level. So yeah, and we just need to keep reminding people that meals are available free and just encourage utilization.
Okay. Any other questions about the food service? And then on to the insurance funding.
Yeah, and the last one is the self-insurance fund. And so if you scroll down, keep scrolling up the balance sheet. Next up is the medical plan. So it looks across all the medical, dental, vision, everything. And again, if you look kind of lower right-hand corner on, I think, page 2 or 3 there, Kelly, you'll see that we're currently operating in the black there as well. So we're moving in the right direction with the health insurance fund.
Yeah.
And we'll be having more conversations about that. We're just getting ready to look at options for the premiums for next year, and things do look good in that regard. So.
And Gwen, if I remember right, there was a pretty significant payment for stop loss insurance.
There was, and I think for the year we're over $1 million in stop loss premiums, that's a double-edged sword, because our
Right.
stop loss will probably go up, but on the other hand, our stop loss is covering some of our larger claims. So that's helping to keep us in the black.
And can you predict, will there be more stop loss payments in the coming months?
We do have some fairly significant claims on their way. Whether or not we'll reach the stop loss before June 30th.
Does that carry over?
Remains to be seen. It does. It's a July to June policy, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions about the insurance financials?
This is Amy. Gwen, could you just really quick, when I look at that information, I have a really hard time remembering what those really big losses are. Could you just really quickly just kind of summarize the overall, not with all the specifics of the claims or anything, but just summarize the real overall health of our situation compared to before we had Care Now, or however you want to put it?
Okay, so the first report is the balance sheet, and what you see there is a negative balance in the cash. And we have this scheduled, so we should be getting, to the break-even point by the end of June. So, and we're on track for that. So even though that seems like a large number to be in the red, we believe that we'll be fine by year end. And so if we scroll up to the next report, Kelly, and this is the combined report. And so the first half of this report is revenues, and so we're starting with dental and vision, which is in the black. Then we're looking at health insurance premiums, so revenues, and then we get into the expenditure side of things. And so, Amy, was there something that you were referring to specifically? Obviously, the biggest expense here is the claims at $2.6 million. Pharmacy claims at almost $1 million.
No, I think basically just wondering overall, is our situation improving?
Yes. Yeah, if we scroll down just a little bit, you can see that we're actually in the black. Keep going a little bit. I think we're about 200 and right there. 800 and, okay, so that's net revenue. Keep going, Callie. And, scroll back up. Okay, this is I need to see the title. Which page, Jack?
Should be 624,000.
Okay, yeah, this is medical only, so keep going. The screen go the other direction. There we go. Okay, there we go, right there. So lower right-hand corner shows to the good in the amount of 624,000. So that is definitely moving in the right direction. This is July through January, because this plan year is July through June. And as you look across the bottom line there, you can see in September there was a significant contribution by the district at that point in our attempt to take care of losses over the last 3 years. The employees are contributing their contribution to that on a monthly basis with their premium in the name of a health insurance surcharge. And so, yeah, definitely, Amy, in the black at this point, revenues over expenditures for the first 6 months of the year.
That's great. And yeah, right there, that 730, that revenue that with the district, I couldn't quite find that, and I'm glad you pointed that out. So thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Yep, you bet.
Thank you, Gwen. There is no old business, but we do have new business. Human resources and personnel. Does anyone have questions for Tracy? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the personnel as presented.
I move that we approve the personnel items as presented.
Second. Okay. We'll beat you to it, Diane.
That's great.
Yeah. Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Northwest Montana Educational Cooperative membership. Callie?
Thank you. Today's request in front of the board is to approve the recommendation to terminate our Northwest Montana Educational Cooperative membership effective July 1st, 2021. We have gone through a process to arrive at this recommendation. It started back in January, where I started to notify individuals and organizations that I would be going through the process with the board for an intended recommendation to terminate our membership. I continued that notification, if you notice, all the way from the county superintendent to the co-op director, co-op finance committee, and then also to all member schools in the co-op itself. I also notified our staff and administrators in the district, kind of an official notification on February 1st, waiting for input, feedback, which I did get. 100% of the feedback was good decision, right on, carry on with that. I went to the board curriculum committee, reviewed the recommendation in depth on February 16th, did the same thing in front of the board finance committee on February 19th, and this evening I am in front of the board to continue with that recommendation, hopefully tonight to lead to a formal vote. Background information on where this is coming from. It all starts out with that 30,000-foot level with an organizational chart. The co-op is actually a member of MESA, and MESA has those 5 different entities under that MESA umbrella. We are continuing with the PIRNet, which is the professional development software. We are continuing with Crossroads. We've never participated in the Health and Benefits Cooperative, nor has the district had any need to do joint purchasing with our smaller partner schools. This right here is the square that I'm recommending that we no longer participate in. Just general information. The original focus on the curriculum co-op was curriculum and professional development. The host district is Kalispell Public Schools, which means that out of my office, I issue the contracts for the 2 employees for the co-op. I also lead up the evaluations on an annual basis of those 2 employees. I co-facilitate the meetings with the curriculum co-op director and assorted other duties. The fiscal host actually is the county superintendent. My history with the co-op, I have served on the co-op board for 23 years. I have, in those 23 years, the co-op has been in 4 different locations, and I have served with 4 different co-op directors. The membership in the co-op, there's 23 K through 8 districts, and there's 5 9 through 12 districts. We are in the K through 8 district, and we're also in the 9 through 12 district. Total co-op, when you just count up all the students of those member districts, there's 12,175 students. Kalispell Public Schools, we take up 50% of those students. So about half the students in the co-op are Kalispell schools. If you take the other 2 large districts, which are West Valley and Evergreen, that are in the co-op, added to Kalispell, we comprise, through those 3 districts, 62% of the students. The dues are actually on a per student basis. It's an annual fee plus a sliding scale on school size. We pay $5.10 for each student 9 through 12 and $9.18 for grades K through 8. The budget that we use to pay for this curriculum co-op comes out of the federal budget, Title II. The reason we can do that is because of the focus on professional development. And typically, Title II is a budget that you can tag professional development activities in your district. Over the last 4 years, we have, just through those dues, spent $179,648 in dues. This year was $44,153 for those dues. So we do have a bottom line here, and our membership benefit is not proportional to the fee. We continue in this district to move in a different direction. We are moving to an additional future generational look at professional development and curriculum development. The long-term value continues to erode, and that's why I had on that one slide, my membership on this co-op board is over a long period of time. So this isn't a one-year knee-jerk reaction to something. I've had 23 years to watch the value of our membership erode, and the time has come from a leadership perspective that I just need to be upfront with the board, and our benefit is not proportional to the money that we are paying for this opportunity to be in the co-op. There's some reasons for that. One is because of our size, we can leverage our professional development, our curriculum reviews. And I am queued up tonight, if need be, I can show you our professional development plan that we are already developing in February for next year. I also have recently launched off 2 large curriculum reviews in this district, and I'm ready to queue up what those plans look like. And we would never, ever, as part of our membership in the co-op, have that level of detail in either professional development or curriculum reviews. The second paragraph talks about the value of our relationships. That we cannot understate, we love our partner districts and we want to have strong relationships with our partner districts, but those relationships have changed over the years. They are solid. Micah, how many times a day, Micah, are you talking to partner districts? I mean, right now, it's like a lot.
Just a couple.
Just a couple times. I mean, and it's a very collegial group. I mean, it's just our partnerships are solid. Our counselors work together, administrators work together, and the co-op does not play a significant role in fostering those relationships anymore. We've moved beyond that. The third and final rationale is our curriculum collaboration with our partner district looks different. There's almost zero reliance on districts aligning textbooks and resources. People are striving towards making sure that our students don't understand the standards that are coming out of the state. And so there's less reliance on everyone's got to have the same textbook. It's, again, 3 reasons. It's next generational thinking. And our bottom line, we just are not getting the membership benefit. Just 3 points of clarification. We are not recommending that the co-op disband. In fact, I encourage the co-op to continue. It is not our business on what that model looks like. The co-op has formed a committee and they are working on that. I'm more than glad to do whatever I can to help with that, but quite frankly, it's really none of our business. We are recommending to continue our relationship in Mesa. The Crossroads and the PIR net will continue with that. On a side note, and the reason why I said that 62% of the student membership in the co-op was from the 3 large districts, West Valley and Evergreen have terminated their membership in the co-op next year. They're out. Are there any questions? Anything that I haven't? Will?
Kelly, you were on the board for 23 years.
I was.
Are you still on the board? What's your relationship
I am,
right now?
but when the membership terminates, I will no longer be on the board.
Any other questions?
This is Amy. Kelly, I'm interested in you said that the textbooks, they don't have to be aligned anymore. And I'm just wondering, wasn't it in the earlier days of the co-op, it was really important that the schools like Fairmont Egan, Creston, Deer Park, that they had this, it was a lot of curriculum work to make sure that the students that would then come into Flathead or Glacier were on, had the same educational background as anyone. And is that true? And now that's no longer needed? I wonder if you can expand on that, just in terms of these schools coming in, these rural schools coming in, and what you think their preparedness will be compared to, the in-district elementary schools.
Amy, thanks for asking that question. What I would answer first off is that it's about skills. It's about understanding, knowing the information and being able to demonstrate that knowledge. And regardless of what the textbook looks like, we will still continue working with partner districts on curriculum development. I have already had conversations and are working with one of the large school districts to partner with them on our social studies curriculum review. So those kind of things we will continue on. But the reliance, Amy, on that we all have to have the same textbook, we never really did, quite frankly, have the same textbooks. So we'll be fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Appreciate your thoughtful process on this, Kelly.
So the next steps for the board, if you so choose tonight, would be to make a motion to terminate our membership effective July 1st.
I so move.
Rebecca moves it. Kim seconds it. Further discussion? Scott?
Do we need to amend the motion that we maintain our membership in Mesa?
What was the original motion as written up there, Kelly?
On this piece of paper?
Yeah.
It's still in there.
It's in there.
It's in there.
Good point, Scott.
Yep, good catch. But it's in there. That, I copied that motion right off the board piece.
Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Amy?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Flathead High School Earth Science textbook adoption. Kelly, you're up again.
Okay. In front of you this evening is a request to purchase Flathead High School Earth Science textbooks. It would be a new business item, district-wide vote, and it is an action item. And the two high schools have a year-long Earth Science course, grades 10 through 12, and Flathead needs new textbooks to support their course. The reason it is in front of the board for formal action is the item is a request for over $10,000. The current textbook that Flathead is using is old. It's old and just falling apart. We did go through a process. We do have a very formal process to move textbook recommendations through, and that process was followed. This was vetted through the board curriculum committee and also the finance committee of the board. We are asking that we be allowed to purchase 120 textbooks and 4 teachers' editions that will include 7 years of online access with a total of approximately $16,000. So we will not exceed that number. The funding source for the purchase will be interlocal funds.
Kelly, I missed the last finance committee. Why the interlocal funds instead of the curriculum budget?
We have a placeholder of interlocal funds for textbook adoptions, there's a line item in there,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have that line item in the curriculum budget.
Okay, thank you. Ursula?
Is this one of the expenses that you saw coming up when we've heard in the years past that there are curriculum needs? Is this one of those that we've been planning on spending out of the interlocal fund where we've been kind of putting money aside, or is this different from that?
This is different from that, but we did know about it.
Okay.
There was some curriculum work done prior to me being the assistant superintendent, Ursula, that wasn't completed. They did some work, and then no textbooks were purchased. And to me, that was a promise made that was not met. And I had a problem with that. And so we have known, Gwen and I have known that we had some cleanup to do, of which this is the cleanup. So on one hand, yes, we knew about it, but it isn't part of the Cycle 1 OPI curriculum adoption.
And is there any chance that these textbooks will not fit in with the new OPI cycle that we're preparing for?
The science is not part of the OPI Cycle 1 or Cycle 2. It's going to be a few years before the science standards are reviewed with OPI, and we couldn't wait.
Great.
This is one of those very unique cleanup things from work that was done a while ago.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Will?
Kelly, if this is cleanup from a previous problem, do we have any more that are in the pipeline? This is the last of the cleanup?
This is the last of the cleanup.
All right, thank you. Further questions? Entertain a motion then?
I move that we purchase the high school earth science textbooks. Should I say the whole thing, not to exceed $16,000 using interlocal funds?
Thank you.
I'll second.
And Sue seconds that. Further discussion? Amy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Other trustees, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
State wrestling, remote day at Flathead High School. Mr. Hill?
Thanks, Lance. So Flathead High School is hosting the Class AA Boys State Wrestling Tournament on March 5th and 6th. This was a process where the district had to bid, and by bid, you basically bid $0 as a cost. And we were awarded the bid to host. We have the appropriate facility to do so. One of the challenges with hosting the tournament, and keeping in mind that the numbers are going to be relatively small, there's only going to be 2 fans per participant. But because of what MHSA has put in place as far as guidelines for protecting the health and safety of the spectators and the participants, it's going to take up quite a bit of our facility to be able to pull this off, including the Gene Boyle gym, the main gym, 7 locker rooms, weight room, other parts of the facility. And Flathead High School administration asked if they could have the day remote because controlling access and in and out and crossing, groups of people from all over the state with our student body just wasn't really feasible. They wouldn't be able to host their PE classes and do those kind of things. And so the ask is that they be allowed to go remote that day. Michelle has talked with her staff. They are supportive of that. One of the challenges when you go to a day of, whether it's a snow day or any other day where school is not in session, the teachers and students can certainly be remote, but you also have to address your classified staff who have, by contract, are guaranteed 183 days. Working with Chris Hirsch, the union president for the classified staff, we've identified 5 solutions for them for that day. They can work the tournament. They can be assigned meaningful work from their supervisor, either the direct supervisor or the principal. They can be reassigned to another location. They could take a day off if they wanted to. So we feel like we've covered our bases on making sure that particular group of employees is taken care of. And that's the ask.
Micah, did we know that this would be a potential, of needing to kind of clear the school before we bid on it?
No. It became apparent once, MHSA, I mean, they sent out a 5-page, agenda, detailing all of the specifics of it. And we had a meeting, I'm gonna say, a week ago, maybe a week and a half, where we kind of went through that. I sat in on the conference call with all the activity directors from across the state and Montana High School Association, just to hear and understand what was going on.
Rebecca?
How many KPS students and how many students overall are involved in this?
There would be 260 participants. And of that, we haven't had the seating meeting, so I don't know how many wrestlers from each of our 2 high schools.
Presumably under 100, we're half the thing, or we're?
Oh, no, far less than that. At the most, 52.
So I know this isn't going to be the most popular stance, but I find it really, really difficult to think of telling 1,500 of our Flathead High School students that they need to give up their in-person day and have a remote day to help, 260 students across this. And I understand that for those 50 people, even those 260 students, that's a huge, great thing to be able to wrestle with others. But I really think that we are first an educational institution. And our first priority has to be in-person classing for our student body. And to take that away for a day is a very hard thing to ask, I think. I feel I'm disrespecting the students. I feel I'm disrespecting the teachers. And I just want to really ask, have we really, really explored every possible, a Saturday, Sunday tournament rather than a Friday, Saturday tournament? Starting the tournament at 3 p.m. so that we could have the regular students in school. Starting it at 1:30 so at least they could have a full day. Only having a small number in the, not allowing spectators, only having a small number in the beginning of the day, and just letting everyone come in after 3 and, go crazy. I mean, really, if there's any, I feel we've made a commitment to these other schools, but I also feel our students are what we're here for.
Yeah, and those things that have been discussed, one, we can't host a MHSA sanctioned event on a Sunday. That's just in the rules. The length of the tournament, given the guidelines that they have and the requirements for the amount of time between matches, and we're only allowed to have 2 mats going, all of those different things have been looked at. We're anticipating on Friday night that we might be done by 11 o'clock at night, starting at 7 a.m. with weigh-ins. So we're looking at a really, really long day on Friday and continuing that into Saturday. It's a different model than what we would typically expect from a wrestling tournament. They're usually pretty long anyways. Most state tournaments run 4 mats per classification, so we only have 2. And so there's just some challenges with the way that MHSA has set this up.
And I guess, MHSA has made unique requests this year, of course, so I think this might be a time that we could make a unique request in return, like having a Sunday tournament, or having a shortened tournament. I think
At this point,
they're asking for us to make differences, and we're not allowed to ask them to make differences. And so we're just saying, sure, we'll mistreat our students, and that's difficult for me. Like, you think there's no gift that they,
well, I guess
that they can make
I guess that's a pretty strong characterization to say mistreat our students. That seems a little out of line. When we take off entire days for speech and debate meets, music festivals.
Again, those are planned a year in advance, those are PR.
Yeah, and so we have to adjust and be flexible with what we do and how we do things.
It's actually an honor to be chosen to host a state tournament, whether it's or just a music festival or a speech tournament or wrestling or anything. So I see it as something pretty exciting that we have the opportunity to do. I don't see it as a disrespect for our students, and I think it's a wonderful thing that we have the opportunity to go remote so that we don't have to cancel school. I guess I look at it differently. I think it's pretty exciting.
But if we feel the remote is as good as in-person learning, we could have gone fully remote. I mean, I think most of us agree that we are committed to in-person learning because we think it's the best. And I do think,
Can you explain?
1,500.
Hold on there, Amy.
Oh, no.
Oh, now you can go, Amy.
Put in the, pardon me? Can you hear me?
You cut, now we can.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Nope, you're cutting in and out. I think we lost
Okay.
you.
We heard okay.
We heard okay, though.
Well, maybe Micah can just, Micah, we had a great conversation and he just explained that there was a process involved here that usually doesn't involve the board, and we're just in a kind of a little bit of an unusual circumstance now. But I don't know. I felt like I got some really good input from Micah about just what was involved in the tournament and what has led us to have to make this decision.
Okay. Will?
So if this would have gone through committee, what committee would we have?
We have never brought a state tournament request in front of the board. That's an administrative function to oversee those operations. We hosted state cross country this year. We've hosted state speech and debate. We've hosted, numerous large events that have involved other districts. The difference this time is that knowing what we know now, if we knew what we knew now, we would have put this in front of the board back when we were talking about calendar, just like we do district music festival, just like we do speech and debate. We already approved those days for next year. This was just something that wasn't necessarily factored into the overall equation moving forward this year.
So it has to go through the board because we're not having school on Friday or maybe
because we're going to go, because the request is for Flathead High School to go remote on that Friday. So the teachers have been prepared in advance. They know, Michelle has talked to her staff, they're comfortable with it. Is everybody in favor of it? Probably not, but generally speaking, Michelle has assured me that their staff is good to go.
Will students be able to access lunch? Like a sack lunch for those kids who need it?
Yeah, we can make that happen.
And mental health services? I assume CSCT, there's a team here that will need it?
Yep.
This isn't related to going remote or not, but I'm just kind of wondering about it. Wrestling is a lot of contact, and we're having folks from all over the state. Afterwards, are we doing any special follow-up with our students to extra testing or, any way to make sure that we don't have any kind of a spreader event?
We've actually talked about this at length with Montana High School Association, with legal counsel, and there's nothing we can do to require anybody to be tested or otherwise. And so the general consensus was if it would be prudent to say, if you were in the wrestling tournament, you should probably go get a test. But that's about the extent of that. And keeping in mind, too, that, through these modifications, there's usually a divisional wrestling tournament where 8 teams from the West get together, wrestle each other to see who goes to state, 8 teams from the East. We are not doing that this year. We've actually increased the size of the bracket from 16 people to 20 to accommodate the fact that there wasn't a wrestle-off or a divisional. And so those the coaches actually have to have a meeting and basically fight it out over who gets to go to the state tournament this year, just based off of record and performance. So there have been some concessions already, and I've got numerous emails saying, hey, we need to have a divisional tournament, we need to, and so part of this has been every activity has had to make sacrifices along the way with shortened seasons, not being able to wrestle outside of your own division, no tournaments. So it's been a pretty shortened version of what would typically be there.
Ursula?
I think it was at the last meeting you had mentioned, there was something about that, as the year progresses, that not all schools might be doing the same things. But at this point, all of the schools that are going to be coming have all been following similar COVID protocols.
Yes.
Okay.
All.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Micah? Sean?
Maybe at the mic.
Yeah, that way everyone online can hear too.
Yeah, my question, well, this comment too, my son was talking about this, and he, from a student perspective, is basically, and his friends are saying it's pretty much a day off for them. So I agree with what Rebecca has said, that it's going to be a day off for the students. They're not going to get to learn anything. They're going to lose another day when they've lost so many days of their education. And it definitely affects their future with how much education they've lost. I know that when it snows, we have a snow day, and then you put a day on at the end of the year. And that might solve your problem with trying to accommodate these teachers that don't get their 183 days. You possibly could just treat this as an actual day off and then add another day to the end of the year, since it wasn't pre-planned on the calendar as a PIR day.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Ursula?
Yeah, so I guess I'll just clarify, kind of going with that. When we built the remote education center, one of the things that was proposed was that if we had a snow day, we would be able to do that remote. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, that's currently the plan, and the operating procedures is that if we had that call a snow day, it would be a remote day.
Okay, great, thank you.
Rebecca?
But I'm sure everybody knows it's not quite that simple, not everybody has an activity at home, this planning one means we can arrange for people to borrow Chromebooks if we have enough, but teachers make a different plan for the day, but it is, we went under an unexpected quarantine, as many people in this room probably have, and it was, more than we expected.
Jack?
I move to approve a remote learning day for Flathead High School on Friday, March 5.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Scott seconds it. Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Amy?
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
I'm sorry, guys, nay.
Motion carries 10-1. Thank you. And I'd just like to give a shout out to the girls wrestling team at Flathead High School, state champions, while we were on wrestling there. Land purchase. Gwen?
Actually, Mikey, do you want to take this?
Yeah, I'll take this. All right, so we've had a facilities steering committee that's been meeting, we've met a few times, and through that process have also met with Dave Gerardo, who is our real estate agent that we use for the district. And backing up the bus a little bit, there was a pun intended on that.
But ding.
Yeah, thank you. The city of Kalispell actually owns our bus barn and the land that our buses occupy south of Legend Stadium. And they let us know a few years ago that they would like to take over that property. They need to expand their facilities, and have been very gracious about it. And we have a couple of years left from their kind of 5-year timeline. And so we started the process of looking for a piece of land that would serve that purpose. In addition to that, a conversation about maybe consolidating some of our facilities, which include our current maintenance and operations facility, which is on 33 Meridian Court. We have our print shop and our actually transportation office are at the old laser building behind Taco Bell and Pro Clean Car Wash. So we just had kind of this larger discussion about what could this look like for the district, knowing that we already have to do a new bus barn and those kind of things. So we explored lots of different land options. We looked at using land that we currently own, which would include the 12-acre lot up by Rose Crossing. But our architects, when they did kind of their little study on what was needed, they said we need at least 5 acres to accommodate the buses, being able to turn around, the buildings themselves. And so that really didn't seem like a good option, because if we put the transportation building there, it essentially eliminates it as a future site for an elementary school. The Rankin property, which is about 20 acres, was the way that was originally designed and laid out was to build maybe a future middle school site there, even with the parking lot and the way things were arranged. And so that if you build on that particular site, there's a number of issues. One is just utilities and any other kind of access that you would need to accommodate buses, and it would really start to encroach on area that would potentially be playing fields, playground, that type of stuff. So we looked at purchasing land contiguous to Rankin. All of that has been sold. There was a 25-acre parcel just directly south of Rankin that wasn't available, and or that we were hoping was available, but that's been sold to a developer. So we started really looking, for what there was. I approached the city about purchasing the current bus barn and land there. They politely said, no, thank you. But then they said, but we do have some other land that you may be interested in. And one of those lots is lot 3A, which is down by Fun Beverage and the new FedEx shipping yard. And this is just a quick diagram of the lot itself. It's about 7 acres, which this is just a quick rendering. They did a quick feasibility study as to whether or not that particular lot would work with parking and the building structure. So they said, yeah, everything will fit. Keep in mind that you have to take care of your own stormwater drainage. So there's a big hole in the ground there. And then, it's an odd-shaped lot, but there's area for snow removal, those kind of things. The biggest challenge, I think, is just what the market is currently doing with land sales, and then finding something that is large enough, and then also kind of within this boundary of, where do we do this? I mean, we could, technically build on the furthest outreach of our district, but then you've extended the length of travel time for the bus to and from the lot and those kind of things. So what's in front of you tonight is a recommendation to put this piece of property on a ballot for land acquisition. And we're not asking voters for money to purchase the land. We have that money set aside. We're also, we have a buy-sell agreement that's contingent upon, 1, the board approving this land acquisition going on the ballot, and 2, the voters have to approve the land acquisition. So I have both of those in front of you tonight.
Any questions? Will?
So Micah, the print folks and one of the other business units are already located, and they'll hopefully be consolidated in this location?
Yes.
So where they are now currently, is that property that we own?
It is.
So after that, we could sell that property?
Correct.
And we're also through the facilities committee taking a look at what we want to do with the properties.
Okay,
So
just in case.
It's in a good location. And, you know, there might be a future use for a school district also. Ursula?
Micah?
Oh, hold on, Amy. Ursula beat you to it.
I gotta say the thing Amy was gonna say. I was in the facilities meeting, and the one thing Micah didn't mention, that was also a factor in choosing this is that, we can only buy a property at its appraisal value. And right now, with what the market is doing, things are typically selling for above appraisal value. And so it really limits our options for going to individual buyers to say, hey, will you hold on to this for a while, agree to sell it to us for only what it appraises for, and see if the voters will approve it. And so we really did look all over the valley at anything that was available, and I think the conclusion that everybody kind of came to is this is more money than we were hoping to spend, and it also seems like it is still very much our best option.
Amy?
Micah, I was curious about the appraised value. The motion includes we're approving an amount too. So are we locking in that amount with the city of Kalispell? They're fine with it, which is in our favor versus wait, you know, we're not going to get the voter approval, we hope, until May. Things could be up, but they're fine with this appraised value as it is now?
Well, one more thing. Gwen and I were talking with Dave Gerardo. So on last Friday, the property had a buy-sell agreement that expired. And Dave was working with the city's real estate agent, and there are currently 2 other buy-sells on the property. And so we are actually competing, and this, if the board approves this tonight, we would move the buy-sell forward to the city council. We have to have that in by noon tomorrow. They're going to consider all offers at their meeting on March 1st. And we're hopeful that they will do that. One of the things, the appraisal is the amount that's listed on here on the financial implications is actually a dated appraisal. We have to have something within 6 months, 90 days. 90 days. And we cannot pay more than the appraised price. But when you look at the finer details of the buy-sell, you'll see that we have offered $430,000 for that parcel as a recommendation of our real estate agent, and knowing that we're in a competitive process. And the city council can say, yes, well, you know, they could take our offer. There's not, you know, a whole lot of contingency wrapped around that, but they could also refuse it and go to someone else at this point.
So Micah, should we make the motion for up to $430,000?
Yes.
Okay. And is that what the real estate agent thinks it's going to appraise for? Or more than that? I mean, can we pay more than what it appraises for?
No.
Okay.
So that's part of that's one of the contingencies.
Okay.
When you look at the buy-sell, it has contingency on voter approval for the land acquisition and on the appraisal.
So he does think it will probably appraise for that. Okay.
Ursula, would you feel comfortable making a motion?
Yes. I move that we approve the purchase of Lot 3A as presented.
As presented, or up to?
Thank you. I move that we approve the purchase of Lot 3A with an offer of $430,000.
Up to?
Up to $430,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will seconds it. Further discussion?
I think that's great.
I'm just wondering if we should have appraised value in the motion somehow. However, we would stick that in.
It's in there.
Okay, thanks.
If you look at the suggested motion, really the only thing that would change was instead of $409,000, we said up to $430,000.
I can say the whole thing. I move that we approve the purchase of Lot 3A, approximately 7 acres, from the city of Kalispell, pending approval by the voters, and an appraisal of up to $430,000 or less for the purpose of relocating the transportation department.
Thank you. Rebecca, do you have a couple questions?
Just, is it big enough for now and into the future, however big the district grows, do you feel comfortable?
Yeah, so the rendering that you saw was for up to 50 buses. We currently have 30. So, with the idea that, our district will continue to grow and transportation needs will still continue to exist. So, yeah, and even in the, as we work through the architectural design, we'll start talking about those spaces and what's needed in terms of growth and what would be appropriate.
And, the other thing was just, gas, considering where it's located, are you worried that it will be considerable, gas costs to go all the way out there, or are we good with it considering our last one was even further away, or?
Yeah, it would depend on where the route was and those kind of things. I mean, I think you could anticipate that there would be some increased costs, for that extra mile each direction, that the bus would have to travel beyond what it did before.
If you thought about it, you're happy with it?
Yes.
I was just gonna add, it has a really great proximity to the bypass.
Oh.
So all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Amy?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And so that will go to the voters. Contracts, elementary only, Hedges security camera. Glenn?
So this is step 2 of a 3-step process to update the security cameras in the elementary schools. So in the elementary technology fund, there's $40,000 set aside each year to do some kind of a district-wide technology project. And we started last year replacing, updating, adding 2 security cameras in the elementary schools. And then this year we're looking at Hedges as the main project for that. And then next year we intend to complete that upgrade in the elementary. And at this point, we're talking about $730,000. $7,030. Those expensive cameras we have. $7,030 upgrade to the cameras at Hedges.
Questions for Glenn?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Scott makes a motion.
I'll second that.
Kim seconds it. Further discussion?
I have a question.
Rebecca?
Are these internal or external? Are these inside or outside cameras? I just couldn't tell.
Yeah, it might be a combination of both.
It is.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep. Yeah.
Elementary trustees, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Consent agenda, and this is for everybody. Bus driver certification list.
And
Well, that's all we got for the.
And tuition.
Oh, we did?
Tuition's elementary only.
Okay, that's elementary only, so.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah. So, can someone make a motion?
I move we accept the bus driver certification list as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
Oh, we'll give it to Rebecca.
All right.
All right, further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Amy?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Consent agenda, elementary only. Tuition. Micah, can you pull that up? I had a question on that. And I think it concerned, there were maybe 3 kids in Columbia Falls, but they were just joining the rec. I guess my question is, Columbia Falls not offering, I guess the rec program, remote education?
They are.
Okay. Okay.
That's about all I can tell you, Lance.
All right, enough said. All right. Will the elementary trustee make a motion to approve?
A motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Oh, we'll give it to Scott. He was louder. All right. Any other questions? Elementary trustees, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Strategic planning.
All right, we're going strategic plan. There we go. I wanted to jump ahead there, but work study topic tonight, the strategic planning. Micah?
Yes. So if I had things my way, we would have been doing a lot more tonight than talking about timeline. Our folks at Montana School Boards Association have been incredibly busy, and I did not receive this until yesterday. And saying that, I wanted to talk to the board about the proposed timeline. Deborah Silk said she's comfortable with changing it up or moving the process forward a little faster. But this is, and part of it, I was waiting for the timeline so I knew what I could communicate to our stakeholders, to our community, our families, start recruiting people to be a part of that process. So kind of that marketing plan. But the idea would be that no later than March 9th, we'd have all the information out and a good plan for how we're going to communicate and what that process would look like. Are we doing it in person? Are we doing it through remote options and breakout rooms and different things like that? So that would be the first step. The second part, Deborah will work with myself, Lance, and Jack to customize a survey to gather input from parents, staff, students, and she's proposing that would be March 15th, and that survey would remain open for 2 weeks. So once that information is gathered and they have kind of that summary data and are able to pull out some of the key points, then we would begin that true process of strategic planning with our stakeholders coming together. This is where we start talking about vision and mission and goals and priorities and what we hope the future of Kalispell Public Schools looks like. So then she would have 3 planning sessions that she would facilitate. Those would be on the week of April 19th, the week of May 3rd, and the week of May 24th. Once all of that information is gathered, assimilated, they would actually flesh out the document itself of what that strategic plan looks like. We would be able to review that in June and then make any changes, recommendations, and then hopefully have it done by the July board meeting.
Well, so Micah, the first, second, and third strategic planning sessions, are those open to like the teachers and community, the parents, and the public?
Yes. Okay. Yep, all who would like to participate are welcome.
Jack?
Micah, because you said you need to reach out to people in order to address the March 9th, would there be any benefit to delay this by 2 weeks or at the most 4 weeks? And what would it do with the end of school and doing this in July instead of June?
Yeah, I think when you look at the timeline and it, even now it feels a little compressed. And so, you're looking at 2 weeks between the development of the survey and how long it remains open. So there's a 2-week window, and then you have another 2 weeks before you have the executive summary of those results, and then you get into those sessions. And it's about every 2 weeks. If there was any room to compress it, it would be to maybe adopt the strategic plan the last board meeting in July or in June, excuse me. So if we extend it, there's probably no harm, but
I was just thinking extending it 2 weeks so that you have enough time to do everything you need to do between now and instead of March 9th, do it, present to the board at the work session at the end of March. Or are we not going to have a board meeting then?
Yeah,
For the spring break? Pardon?
March 30th.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it'd just give you more time for talking to all the stakeholders.
it would.
I think you have quite a bit on your plate right now anyway.
Yeah, I also have a good team, and we can get it done.
Ursula?
Is the end of July, is that when we consider like the year, that's the fiscal year, is the very end of July?
No.
Yes?
Well,
End of June.
End of
Oh,
June.
it's the end of June, so
Yeah.
already we are going into the second year.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really not that bad of a time to accept a strategic plan to begin the fiscal year.
Right. Would you mind scrolling down? What is the last date? Sorry. Would you mind scrolling down? Oh, thank you so much. Oh, June 7th. Okay. So it's a July board meeting. This would be the very beginning of the fiscal year. That does make sense.
I don't know that this is really determined on a fiscal year basis, though.
Probably not, but some of the objectives that we had talked about at governance to really tie some of Micah's performance to specific things, it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right, it doesn't need to be tied to the fiscal year.
I just don't want it to be crammed, and right now it looks like if he just got this yesterday and hasn't had time to look at it and still needs to make, because this is a community event, and the first timeline, which is 2 weeks from today, and all the other things that are on his plate, I don't know if that's enough time, even though he'll have help from people, if that's enough time to make the contacts and coordinate it all. That's the only part that goes through my mind.
We only do this every 10 to 15 years.
And I'm going to say, Micah, I know you have an amazing team. I don't know that everyone else in the community is as organized and prepared
Yeah.
as you are.
Would you be comfortable if I suggested to Deborah that we push the timeline down a little bit?
Or out, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give more time for quite a few spots along the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, when is the board retreat scheduled? We don't, do we want this in place before the board retreat, or do we not want it, or has that been thought about?
You know, I think if we were to push it out a couple of weeks, usually our board retreat is that last work session date in June. So I think this year it was, or this last year was June 23rd. So we could certainly look, if we have the draft by June 23rd, if we set that as the date, and then we can come back and make suggestions, and if we have to, and then if Deborah can get that done in a timely fashion, we could still probably have that July date for adopting it, or we could, we could do it in August too.
I like that. I like the idea of having the board retreat, having a draft, so if the board at that time has changes they want to make, they can do it. I think that sounds sensible to me.
Okay. I'm good with that. It's your baby.
Well, so is your recommendation to push it out? Is that what you were suggesting in the beginning?
That's what Jack was suggesting. And I appreciate that.
And you appreciate it. Okay, good.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm not in disagreement with it.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Any other feedback from Micah on the strategic plan timeline? So at this point, we will adjourn to executive session for the purpose of superintendent evaluation. Being the board chair, I deem that the right to privacy is greater than the public's right to know, unless, Micah, you would prefer to waive that right. Micah says no, so let's recess for about 5 minutes so we can clear the room, and then we will re-adjourn and for the purpose of Mr. Hill's evaluation.
Yeah, so that's the first one.
I know Tracy has hard copies of it. Do you want me to put it up on the screen? I have an electronic copy of it.
Yeah, she sent me one too. Hey, Amy, are you there?
Yes.
Do you have access to the feedback Micah got on his evaluation?
You're not, right?
I always spoke to Dave, I'm gonna get it.
I didn't see that.
Yes.
Can you say that again?
I did not see that,
Okay.
but I could get it, tomorrow and just,
Okay. You probably don't. We'll put it up on the screen.
okay.
What's going on with Mark? Is he looking unable to log on because of his Chromebook?
No, he's on. He's just gonna have to shout if he had it, I'm sure he's yay on everything if he hadn't opposed it.
I sent you the PDF,
Yeah.
so if you want to send it to Amy, and I
Okay.
don't know
Yeah, Mark's
if
on
Mark
too.
is too, whichever works best.
Okay. I think we'll just put it up on the screen. I think it has that capability.
Who else is on? Thank you. Do you have a copy of the somewhere feedback?
Tracy sent it to, oh yeah, I haven't even opened it. I'm like looking for.
Would you just please remind the board to be here early tomorrow evening?
Yep.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
gonna show up right at 6.
I
just
know,
to make everyone
exactly.
nervous.
6:01, no walking in at 6:01.
5:59:30.
Nope.
Well. Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate your 23 years on the co-op board. Organization sometimes.
I just didn't want people to think this was like a 6-month knee-jerk reaction to something. It's not.
Where's my
I
lock?
just didn't have the courage years ago to.
Let's turn off. Board.